What's going on, everyone? Jonathan here with the Amen Audio Experience. Today we are at Akash Winery, and we have the incredible opportunity to talk to Akash. He is part of an incredible family operation here, a family winery business in the Temecula Valley area. And we get to sit down with him, talk to him about the dream that his family had of building a winery here, and the progress that he's made and the struggles and some of the things they've had to overcome, as well as different things that he's used to create a really incredible experience here for the folks that visit his winery here. So let's go ahead and let's take a look. What's up, everyone? I'm Jonathan with the Amen Audio Experience, and I'm here today with Akash Patel from Akash Winery, and thank you so much for having us here, man.
Of course, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. So we're here, obviously we are going on podcasts, and we have our stuff going on YouTube as well, but I'm really curious, kind of give us a little bit of an introduction on yourself and the how long has this winery been open? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I am Akash, and I'm the owner here alongside with my parents. We just opened up our tasting room officially about 3 weeks ago. We had a grand opening party, but this venture has been started about 10 years ago, and the dream started 20 years ago by my dad.
Wow. I missed the grand opening party, and I know I was DMing Akash on Instagram, and I was hoping that we would be able to come out and make it, but it looked really good. And they have an incredible Instagram account, and if you're local at all in the Temecula area, I highly recommend you check this place out. I'm sure you'll be able to tell from the video and some of the B-roll, the job that they've done here from a design standpoint is incredible, and it's obvious the care and attention that you put into this project. So, okay, so tell me a little bit about the starting. Like when you said the dream is 20 years old, and this project kind of started about 10 years ago with your parents. Were you always entrepreneurial, or was this something that has begun more recently in the last 10 years?
No, I think my parents always instilled it into me that, you got to be in business and you got to be an entrepreneur, and, you always have to have education on your side, but business is kind of the way to go in our family, at least. And we come from the hospitality background, and my parents have been in business for about 40 years now. So,
oh, wow.
In motels.
Okay.
And
tell me about that a little bit. Okay. So your hospitality background.
Yeah. So my parents, they kind of did the American dream, and they ventured out into the States, and my parents kind of invested into a mom and pop small time motel in a little small town off the I-40 in New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of where their dream started, and they just hustled and they worked, they made the beds, they checked guests in, they did the whole 9 yards. And then raising my two older sisters, and that's what they did. And then later on they were successful in that over some time, and didn't have employees. Like they would have the midnight shift, and they would do the whole thing. And then they did it with the property across the street. They got another loan on good faith, and they started renovating that property, doing the same thing to that one. And then, my dad goes, well, I can build these things. I think I can build them. So again, he did it with another property, renovated it, and then started building his own. And that was in about, I think, 89, 90, and that's actually when I was born.
Okay.
And he was building his first...
So we're similar age then.
Yeah, 28, so I'm not sure.
29.
Yep.
89.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of when, he started building them, and then now he's built and renovated over 15 motels, I think, all in the state of New Mexico. And
wow.
And
all from just running that one motel and doing everything.
Yeah, my parents are very determined people.
Okay.
They kind of instilled that in me too. So that's kind of to piggyback on did I always know I was going to be an entrepreneur? Well, yeah, I always thought that, I'm going to get in the hospitality industry. I'm going to, motels, real estate, whatever it's going to be, that's kind of where I'm going to be at. I did not think I'd be in the wine business, but that's just something, things led to another. And then my dad got this crazy bright idea that let's get a vineyard, let's get into the wine business, let's put up a bed and breakfast on, in wine country. And that's because he was actually out here looking for a motel to buy out here off Jefferson. We were gonna buy one of the motels there in 2001.
Wow.
So this is where the dream starts 20 years ago. Huh. And that's kind of where it all started. That the door closed on buying that motel in the last minute or two. Something went wrong. I was very young at the time, didn't really know. And then he just was out here, roaming around and said, I think we can put maybe a motel on a vineyard or something. Let's see. So he bought a painting. I talk about this and I tell this to everybody, that he bought a painting of a vineyard, put it up in our living room in Anaheim at our house. We had already moved from New Mexico at this point.
Okay, and so at that point, did your family still owned some of the hotels?
Yep.
Because at this point, your dad has built, okay,
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah,
Incredible.
my eldest sister and her husband, they actually run and manage those properties, but my parents are always coming back and forth overlooking everything. So yeah, they're
That's
still
really
run and
cool.
operate 3 of them. Everything
Okay.
else we've kind of sold and ventured off, but we still own and operate 3 in that same little small town right off the I-40. And yeah, still the same house that I was born in and lived in, and everything is still there.
Wow, that's incredible. So then you mentioned a bed and breakfast. Is that here on the property?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet. Hopefully we break ground for it next year at some point, or the year after. We're figuring this business out, going to get into that next, but it'll be right here on the property, just right above us.
Okay, that's incredible. I can imagine that takes so much patience, and it sounds like over the length of time that your dad and mom have been invested into not only the hospitality side, but over the 10 years that this whole thing has been a dream.
Yeah.
And then you executing on it, that's really inspiring. I think a lot of people are so concerned with immediate results, and I think people get discouraged when they don't see something play out right away. They're a real estate agent for 3 months, or they get into social media, or they create a podcast, right? And they don't get the results right away that they want, and then they get discouraged.
Yeah.
But it seems like this has been really something where you guys have had incredible patience, and you're starting to see some of the fruits of your labor.
Definitely incredible patience. This is definitely an industry you have to be patient with, because you're dealing with nature, and we were trying to build something from scratch. This was just dirt when we got it.
Wow.
So we put a lot of work into it, and yeah, patience was tested many times in this, trying to get it to open, and dealing with all the government agencies and just construction itself, and not knowing the winery business or the vineyard business, and kind of just getting accustomed to it. We're still learning, we're still learning what it's all about.
And for anyone who doesn't know, who's watching this right now, Temecula is kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's wine country, but I think it's kind of a stepsister right now to the Sonoma Napa area. Is that still, kind of how it's considered? And I know maybe I'm saying that to the wrong person.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it's considered yet. What I know in Temecula that's happening is something incredible. It's a diamond in the rough. I think it's the next biggest thing to Southern California, or to California, maybe even in the United States. Yeah, wine enthusiasts.
How many wineries are here right now? Do you have any?
Roughly 50.
Okay,
Roughly
yeah.
50 rezoned for another 100. So we'll
Wow.
see in the next 10 years about 150 wineries.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if you drive along any of these roads back here, I mean, they're covered with grapes. Your property itself, I mean, hearing that this was just dirt,
Yeah.
and then seeing it, as we drove in, it's incredible. And you've done, it's very aesthetic.
Thank you.
So it's really cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
like to make everything kind of stand out. We're putting a lot of hard work into it. So I think the little things, if they stand out, the little things, then the whole place will stand out, right?
absolutely. What was the decision? So you talked about, how your family came from New Mexico, living in Anaheim. Your dad bought that painting and kind of started to have this vision. At what point do you transition to it, being your dad's vision, to you kind of grabbing that and running with it? Because you're definitely, I mean, you're of course working with them, but I really sense you're definitely a leader in this endeavor.
Yeah.
And it has your name.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I really got into it, was when my parents, we purchased this, and then they said, well, we're going to name it after you. And I'm like, whoa, don't do that, And then my dad was like, no, it's going to be named after you. And I think when he did that, like, to me, it was, well, if my name's going to be on it, I got to take it and run with it. I can't let someone else do it. I got to, my parents are giving me this opportunity, and they've worked so hard to get this opportunity that I got to work my ass off and just take it and run with it, and just go and learn and get involved and figure everything out that we don't know about it. And it was, it's kind of a no-brainer, at that point when you come out here, you see the beauty in the place, and you go to the other wineries and you see the lifestyle and, the business side of it, and you're like, well, seems like a pretty good business to get into, Definitely a long endeavor, but it's a fun one. It's motivating to come work on this and build it and continue it and do every little thing. You know, we try and keep everything in-house. It's very family-oriented here, and that's the kind of feel we want. You'll always see me here. You'll always see my parents roaming around here. And
so I was asking you about that a little bit beforehand, but how do people consume your wine? So is it just on your property here? Do you work with distributors? Do you use other grapes? Like, tell me a little bit about, because I know there's a whole back end of the wine business.
There is. So everything currently is 100% estate.
Okay.
That's kind of mine and my winemaker's goal here, is to keep everything estate, and any other vineyards we acquire to manage that fruit just like we do here, with our protocols and our programs and our people, so they know our quality, and we don't purchase any outside fruit currently.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep it more boutique and more care behind what we're putting in our bottle.
Okay, awesome. Question again, and you were kind of mentioning some of the lifestyle stuff. You're younger, and I'm curious, do you see a big distinction, or do you even realize it, the difference in your lifestyle and what you're doing compared to your peers? And I'm asking that kind of specifically just because, you know, I think, I mean, I enjoy wine, right? And you're here making wine.
Yep.
You know, so you're at a very different end of the spectrum than most people would be, and I assume you drink some wine as well.
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
But how do you feel like your lifestyle differs as far as the things you're spending your time on?
It's an interesting question. You know, I'm building a brand. You know, that's what my focus is building a brand and building something that's relatable to our peers. An environment, giving them an environment that is relatable to people in our age group. And wine might be considered a more sophisticated older person's drink of choice, but I don't believe that it should be. I think we're showing that in our packaging. If you come to our tasting lounge, it's a lounge, it's not a tasting room. You sit down, you hang out, you have a knowledgeable server that can relate to you, that can talk to you about wine, talk to you about personal stuff, whatever you want, you know, get involved with you and make you feel comfortable about the product we have here, because that's kind of my goal, I guess, if that's kind of answering your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just making it relatable to people in our age group, creating an environment for them that they like, that they can hang out in, and that they don't feel like they don't know what's going on, that they're just giving somebody a ticket at the bar and someone's pouring them some wine that they have no idea what's going on with it, and they don't know the labor of love that went into it. So we train our staff to kind of showcase that a little bit here, and like I said, a little more attention to detail, and it's just kind of how I imagine that I would want to drink wine. And if I were coming to wine country, I don't want to be at the bar giving somebody a ticket and giving me a little pour, and then I got to go back, sit down, hang out. You're supposed to be enjoying this, right? So I think that's where we're doing a different take on it, and I hope that is more relatable to our peers.
I like that. And the question was because I'm hearing, I love this just because of my background in hospitality. It is so obvious how much you care about the experience of the folks that come here and enjoy your wine and enjoy the experience that you've created here. But it was more of a question, you know, because I know there are a lot of people out there that might want to own their own business, maybe even own their own winery someday, right? And you know, what is the lifestyle differences? I mean, are you watching Netflix a lot? Are you waking up super early? What kind of personal habits do you feel like you've had to cultivate? And I know you said, of course, your focus is on creating a brand. Right. So I know for you, kind of second nature, that probably locks you into kind of a certain...
like I'm always working, basically.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
okay. Tell me about that a little bit.
Definitely I zone out too, but I think with social media, you're kind of always working. Like, I don't really care about my personal Instagram, but when it comes to the business Instagram, I'm the one managing it alongside my wife, and we're just always on it, you know, trying to build it and build it. But in the free time and in our lifestyle, I mean, you know, we like to chill out, hang out. We're big foodies. We like to eat, you know, go try new restaurants and go look at other places to get inspired too, not, you know, just to see what they're doing and learn from them. So I think that's where my lifestyle is different than the averages. When we go out, I'm always looking at what other people are doing in their businesses. So
are you more focused, and sorry for interrupting,
no
but just kind of on that, are you more focused operationally? Are you looking specifically, like if you're sitting down in a restaurant, are you all customer service and you're looking how the servers are? Like, where is your head at?
if my wife was here, she would laugh because it goes from the whole spectrum of things. I'll look at people's fire sprinkler systems.
Okay.
She's like, okay, they did almost a similar fire sprinkler, down to those things where, oh, they use this company because I can see that they have this, like we use Cintas. So
Yeah.
I saw a mop head on the ground the other day, and I'm like, oh, they use Cintas, like they're doing it. So I'm validating what we're doing by them. Or, yeah, customer service, like this is how they kind of run their business. This is their operational. So it's always glassware. Oh, this is what they're using for. It's just picking up on little things, and that's just kind of how my brain goes. It just, I'm always thinking, what can we do here? So I guess in that sense, yeah, my brain's always working, but definitely, we like to just take our time too and hang out and just chill. Yeah, I don't try to overwork myself, but I think at the end of the day, when you're building your own brand, you're always thinking, how can you excel it? Especially when you're locked in, and we're so locked in right now. So.
Well, yeah, if you're so focused on that goal and that dream of what you're doing, some of the extra things fall off. Like it's hard to maybe watch a show on Netflix or Hulu when you have in the back of your mind something else
I do love my Netflix and Hulu, I'll tell you that much. So I do watch a lot of shows. And
what shows here? We have to.
Oh man, we binge watch a lot of shows. Now I'm currently watching Entourage.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because I think that it's kind of like, I don't know, because of the opening of the business and everything, it's kind of like that feel good, like you see a lot of success happening in that show, and it's just a fun show to watch, and especially when you're opening a business, it kind of gets you more motivated, and it's funny too, and it's kind of one of those, I guess they now label it as casual watching on Netflix. So it's something you can watch, but you can be on your phone, or you can,
DMing people on Instagram,
exactly, probably
working.
talking to you. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
When are we going to do the podcast? Like that.
Yeah.
I was probably watching it while I was DMing you. So
that's cool.
Yeah, just a little insight, I guess.
You mentioned inspiration. What inspires you? Whether it's from a design standpoint, or even if it's something like another entrepreneur, or maybe a book, or your family, or kind of what inspires you and gives you that creative edge? Because it's very apparent here that you're doing something right.
I would say my parents. There's not a day that goes by that I don't know how hard they worked for what we have today and what they went through and the sacrifices they made. They've shared so many stories with us, and always kind of educating me and my sisters, like, life was hard. We had to go through a lot to get you where you are now. So I think knowing that I have such a head start on so many people, I can't take that for granted, not for a second. So I got to make sure I'm always on everything, that I'm trying to break grounds, and I'm trying to excel this brand, excel this place to a whole nother level, and just kind of, pay homage to my parents. Like, you're in good hands. Like, you left everything in great hands. We're going to take care of it, and we're going to build something that it's a legacy at the end of the day. It's something my parents did, and now it's a story we get to tell, and we get to share it over wine and build a beautiful product, and it's from the labor of love. And I think it's the whole nature of what we're in and who I'm doing it for.
Mm-hmm. How did they instill that in you? And I guess when you were saying that, I'm thinking there are many parents, and they immigrated to the U.S., correct?
Yep,
I think
that's correct,
you mentioned
yeah.
that. There are many parents that do immigrate here, that do create an incredible life, and then their kids, or the next generation, ends up being more entitled because it's on the backs of everything that they worked on, and so they don't have to have a similarly difficult childhood. It sounds like you're very grateful.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of perspective on what it took them to get you guys to where you are now. How was that something that they spoke about in the home? Is that something that you kind of just naturally felt inside?
No, they shared stories all the time over dinner, just letting us know. And I think it's just their parenting, and that's just kind of how they raised us. And I think it was great parenting what they did, and not to let me know that not everything's guaranteed in life. My dad's always said you can lose everything in a second. So if you don't have backup plans, and you're not street smart, and you're not aware, there's one thing to be book smart, but you got to be street smart. And you got to be aware of what's going on, and always have things lined up. And I think just over time, from a young kid, they've always instilled to just be prepared that, they at one second they were kicked out of Africa and they lost everything. They didn't have anything. They
grew up in Africa?
Yeah, both my parents were born in Africa.
Oh,
my
wow.
mom was born in Kenya. My dad was born in Uganda.
Okay.
Then a British ruler came in and actually told that all Indian people, you need to leave within 90 days. You need to get out of my country. We don't want you here. And their families left. They had to find each other. There was no cell phones. There was no direct messaging, no texting. Like, hey, where you at, sis? You know, my dad ended up in one part of Canada, his family ended up in another part.
Wow.
And then he's got to figure out how to get to them, you know, and it's picking up payphones and trying to figure out who went where.
Yeah.
And then coming to the States and trying to make something of himself, and then you see what they did with themselves, and you're kind of like, well, it's big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, some people might feel entitled, where I just want, you know, they put my name on it, so I want to make sure, like I said, I'm giving the best that I can. It's kind of validating myself, and you know, like I said, they're leaving it in good hands, and I want them to be comfortable that they're leaving it in good hands, and that's what I'm here to do, and keep breaking grounds, because that's what they did.
Love
and
that.
they've shared so many stories where you just take a step back and you're kind of like, well, would I be able to do what they did? And my dad always says, like, I challenge you to go do what I had to do, you know, just try it.
Well, think about that. I mean, this is a little bit of a sidebar in a way, but no texting, right?
Yeah.
Just communication. Think about marketing. I mean, you
Yeah.
and I now, we have the advantage of being able to grab our phones,
Yep.
and you know, you can Google something. You can Google the best way to do X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, right? You could probably even, I mean, I'm sure the results wouldn't be accurate, but you could Google how to start a winery,
Yeah.
right? But the point there that I'm trying to make is, like, you can see right in front of you, you have some sort of resource. And back then, they didn't have that. And I
Yeah.
think we're kind of in the similar age category where, you know, I remember a time where, you know, there was dial-up internet, and
Yeah.
there was, you know, email was just coming out, and some of these things were happening. And just to think that there were people like your parents that had to work so hard and were still able to accomplish a lot, but they didn't have the advantages of the communication and the technology and everything right at their fingertips. I feel like it was exponentially more difficult.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more inspirational that they could
Yeah.
create something
Yeah, I think so. I
with
mean,
the hospitality side.
there was none of that.
Yeah. So going on that hospitality topic and just talking about this place here, do you do something specific? Do you kind of look for something specific in the people that you're looking to work here? What is the culture that you're trying to establish here at the Akash Winery?
A place where our team members want to come and work. I always share with them, here we're about teamwork. We got to work together. We got to communicate. We're trying to bring a different style of a tasting room. It's a tasting lounge. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's a whole different business model, so that they, you know, work with us. And I'm a team member. You know, at the end of the day, I don't say I'm, you know, whatever I say goes. Like, we want to hear your feedback. We want to listen to you. We want to know how we can become better, right? And with that being said, you'll find me bussing tables. You'll find me washing dishes. You'll see me checking in guests, because I need to know every part of my business. And I hope that they know that I'm here to learn too, and that we want to create a great place for everyone to come to, not only to work at, but to visit our place. And we want it to feel like family. You know, that's kind of the goal we're going for.
Do you find that a struggle? Because that resonates with me a lot. And being on the team, you're on the team with them. It's not like you're the boss and they're the
Correct.
employee, even though that's technically how it's
Yeah, it is.
structured.
Technically structured, yeah.
But, you know, you're very much in the trenches with them getting this stuff done. And,
Yeah.
and that's how my company is set up, and that's how you're doing things here as well. Do you find that there's a struggle at all with really getting people to open up and really feel the liberty to express their opinions and emotions, because there is still that baked in fear of kind of other environments that they may have been in, about the boss, or the kind of the hierarchy of not wanting to upset you so that they, like, get fired or something?
Maybe yes and no. You know, we're still new in this, so I'm still learning. And we have a new staff, and everything's new. The business is new. The operation is new that we're implementing. So I think that's a question I'll have to learn over time to be able to answer that.
Maybe we'll come back in a couple years
Yeah.
and redo the question.
I'll be pulling my hair out. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think we have a good thing going. I think all of our team is catching on to the vibe we want here. We want people to be happy at the end of the day. That's my goal. Everybody to be happy.
Do you do training? Is it a lot of on-the-job training? Do you what do you do as far as that goes to get someone ready for this different environment that you have?
Well, we basically have like a 3-part interview process.
Okay.
The initial job application, then like a vetted out. We look through everything on their history of their resume, have an email chat with them real quick, bring them in, feel them out with a few questions that we have set up. After that, assess, do they fit our culture, explain to them what our culture is, explain to them what we're expecting out of them, when they're on the team, that team environment, and then see if they're cool with it, see if they're still on board. Then we go to the drawing board. Okay, is everything good? Cool. Can you come back for a second round interview? Now we do a little bit of role play. We give them more information on our winery, more about the style we're doing, and then we'll do kind of like a dialogue play to see how they answer questions, if they memorize most of our stuff and all the information we gave them, if they took the time to do it. So then we fill them out again, see if the vibe's right when they're doing the role play, and then we'll bring them in for like a training session live. Before we started everything, we did about 3 or 4 training sessions to get the entire staff ready.
That's awesome.
On the weekends, just 4 hours a day, brought them in and just kind of went through what we're expecting here, all of the things. There's a lot. It's an animal, it's a new business. We're also trying to figure out how to run this business. So
you're working on your wines. You're working on. It's a huge.
It's crazy because we still got winemaking. We still got vineyard maintenance. We were under construction, still building the thing. So yeah, it's been a lot to get here. So to go back, we do a intensive interview process, but I think it's fitting for the style we want here, and it's worth it because we want the right people working in our environment and in this culture.
Do you, when you're juggling all those things, do you find it's challenging to, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, for me personally, it's been challenging to stay focused on the culture and the brand and kind of the vision. And it seems like you have a really clear perspective of what the vision is of where you're going, whether it's here, getting this off the ground, then into the bed and breakfast. You have your vision very clearly defined in your head. But of course, like you're talking about, there's the daily things. There's the busting the tables and training the team members and, the wine and the construction and everything else you mentioned. So do you ever feel, and if you do feel this, how do you handle it? Do you ever feel a dichotomy or a stress between keeping your focus and your vision and your kind of mindset set on where you're going, but then also having to deal with kind of the little busy work?
No, I don't. I don't know. Not yet.
Okay.
Definitely not yet. We've been through a lot on this project. I think we've gone through so many hurdles and so many steps and everything. So to me, everything's just like exciting. Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't want to burn myself out either. So, just staying focused, but knowing that all these tasks are manageable at the end of the day, and dedicating specific times and just implementing strategies. And we have a great team on the back end who like I said, my wife helps me out, and we have our director of operations. She's awesome. Like, we have a lot of structure on the back end, which is awesome. Our winemaker, he's awesome. He helps me with the winemaking and the vineyard protocols and doing all that stuff. So we have great structure behind us, which helps me focus on so many different things because they got the other stuff down.
That's awesome. Do you have a certain side of the business that you tend to go towards? Like whether it's operations or, I guess, a strength versus a weakness?
No, I try and nerd out on every part. I think so. I don't know. Everything's so fascinating. Like I said, I'll even look at sprinklers at other businesses. Like from the construction side to the branding side, I get so involved in designing. I like to have my hands in everything. I think one thing my parents has always taught me is you got to know every single part of your business. You may not have to do it every single day, but if you don't know it, then you don't know, right? You don't know what's going on, and you need to know what's going on in every part of your business.
With that said, do you feel like you... sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
With that said, do you have something that you'd consider like a weakness?
That's a tough question. I'm not weak. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't get tired.
I don't know. Maybe sometimes I can get tunnel vision, right? So I can be so locked into something, and I don't take a step back to realize, like, hey, maybe take a step back. Are we doing the right thing here? So maybe that. But I think with the structure I have behind me, with all the people, I think that we balance each other out. That we can always like take a step back because, we're all looking at what we're doing here. And then we can understand, yeah, this is a good idea or this is not. So I think maybe that would be a weakness. It
sounds like you've built a really incredible team that allows you to have that focus, and that focus on whether it's building your brand, the sprinklers, whatever else it is, the social media or whatever. It allows you to be successful because having that tunnel vision doesn't completely mean that another part of the business shuts off.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hearing this and listening to your story, it's obvious there are a number of different things that are making you successful, and I think are going to continue to push that forward. I'm hearing a lot of like curiosity. I don't know if you said it actually, but from looking at what type of mops they're using, to the sprinklers, to the types of wine, to the wine bottles, it seems like you're asking a lot of questions. Why is this being done this way? And looking at every opportunity to challenge kind of the status quo. You want to have a tasting lounge, right, instead of a tasting room, and doing things just a little bit differently that'll enable you to create a custom culture that's uniquely yours. And I really, really love that.
I think that was well put. I think it's just asking the whys, and always, I try to be a sponge, and I think that's what my winemaker's always taught me to be too, is just like, he's always let me ask him any question I wanted, so he's taught me a lot about this business, so then I can, just by asking and always answering my questions, and if he doesn't know, he'll go find out.
How'd you meet your winemaker or some of the other influential people here?
I think it's always just right place at the right time, putting yourself in the position, It was actually while we were constructing this building, a lady drives up our driveway, and she's just kind of poking her head around. What are you guys doing here? And we're like, me and my dad were just hanging out, kind of. I think they were starting to put up some beams or something like that. I honestly forget. And we start talking. One conversation leads to another. She ends up owning a vineyard out here too. And then, well, we need someone to help us make our wine. We don't know what we're doing yet. Who's making your wine? She goes, hop in my car. I'll go show you. I'll introduce you to him. So we bombard our winemaker Renato's office. Mm-hmm. She's like, hey, meet these people, and they're looking for a winemaker, and he long story short, he ended up being the real deal. Mm-hmm. Like he's like my older brother. He just taught me everything, and he took me under his wing, and he's very humble. He's very about the passion, the business, and understanding it all. And
so you didn't even have a winemaker when you started constructing. That's incredible.
We had our vineyard, everything in, and we were just kind of like, I don't know, we just started. We came into a blind, but now I think we got a good grasp on what we're doing here.
That is so incredible. So many people, and this is something else I'm hearing as I interview some entrepreneurs, they will have a vision of something that they want to do, and then they'll just start doing it.
Yeah.
And then the pieces will work themselves out along the way. Yeah. Someone will walk up the driveway.
Yeah.
They'll see something somewhere. Like, the pieces start falling into place, but they only fall into place when you have that momentum.
Right.
And you have that drive forward.
Like I said, even with you asked me about Temecula Life, the page, and Luis is the one who runs it. And like I said, he was just riding his bike, and he DM'd me. I just started an Instagram. We just had a vineyard, but I started the Instagram just to have it going. And he just DMs me, hey, can I take a picture? And it was like, well, yeah, but let me come meet you too. Just kind of putting myself in that position. I meet him, and then his brand is now blowing up like crazy, and so are we. And now we're able to collaborate together and do fun things together because we built a friendship. And same with my winemaker, we built a true, genuine friendship, and we become brothers. And that, like I said, it's a family feel we want here. So just to kind of piggyback, like, it's about putting yourself in the positions. Even like I said, I'm always open to doing podcast interviews, and just, you never know where something's going to take you. So you can't shut things out. And
I so appreciate you being open to doing this.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think podcasts are starting to come out a little bit more as far as a medium, a media avenue that people will listen to, whether on drives or whatever. But sometimes people are, uncomfortable or whatever with it. So I'm really thankful that you were, welcoming us into your space here, and I'm looking forward to trying some of the wines. Where can people find out more about you if they're trying to connect up with you?
Website, Instagram, Facebook.
And it's just Akash Winery.
Yep.
Is the Instagram handle?
Yep.
Okay.
Akash Winery, akashwinery.com. Yelp has a lot of information on us, and we do things by reservation here. So we ask people to jump on Yelp and just make a reservation to come in and visit our tasting lounge, because it is a seated experience that you get, and you try our wines. And so we ask people to make reservations, and it helps both sides have that 5-star experience.
Totally. So is it you book a table, one of the tables that are here, and then you go sit down and come with friends, or?
Yeah, so you just check in at the host stand, and we'll get you checked in, we'll get you seated right away, and then a server comes up and kind of gives you the spiel on what we're going to do here and how we're going to present it, because we don't have a book of wines here. We have 6 wines we're pouring, sometimes 7, sometimes 5. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's all estate, so we're, inventories, wine is going out, and we're, trying to manage our inventory as best as we can.
So whatever's available is kind of what's available,
Yep.
which is really cool. It's
Yeah.
super authentic, and it's, you're going to get something that's grown, right over there.
Right,
kind of thing.
exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're
That's
able
awesome.
to do that, so it's cool. And then in our tasting lounge is kind of more intimate, so if it's a party larger than 10, we ask them to call in prior, make a formal reservation with our director of operations, and we'll set something up for them special, maybe because it might be a little bit larger of a group, so the tasting experience that we do here might get shot. So we do something different for them, more of a bottle service, but you get a server, and you might be on the patio on the side, and we don't want it to get too rowdy in here. That's kind of our goal, is to keep the space more intimate.
Okay.
And then, we have our wine club area for our club members to come and lounge in. If they don't want to do a reservation, they can just walk in and
I saw
go to their
cornhole out there.
Yeah,
and
we
you
got
had
cool
some-
games. So trying to keep it young, fun, and have cool games. And we have cool art displayed all around the building. And yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. So you said Akash Winery is where they can find you on Instagram, website, Yelp,
Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook?
I try to be on everything.
trying to be on
Yeah.
all the platforms.
Yep.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, hey, Akash,
Yeah,
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me. Yep,
I
appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it. All right. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next episode.